What the fuck?
Yeah, so some shape keys. So we're gonna right click this head and we're gonna make sure we're on the triangle here and add a shape key. This will be the basis. So basically what your character will look like when he's idling or whatever. Okay? We're gonna add one, another. Alright, so we'll name this first one mouth vertical, and then we'll name the second one mouth horizontal. Okay, we're gonna start off with that, and then we're gonna name this third one mouth emotion. Then we're gonna name this fourth one I blink. You get the idea. So we're gonna, and whenever we want to create a new key, we click the basis first and then the plus sign. So we can go ahead and call this one I sad, I mad, and that's pretty much the amount of keyframes or shape keys that I have for this tutorial, or will be showing you for this tutorial. So we're gonna go ahead and start with mouth vertical. So basically, now that we got our shape key, we're gonna select mouth vertical and press tab, okay? Now we have vertex groups, so instead of selecting all of these little bits to select the bottom lip, we're going to go into the vertex group. We're gonna select one of them, right? We can't select like this and then be like, okay, I'm gonna go select the bottom lip and then select, because whatever you selected previously will still be there. So select that and then select, boom, just like that. So with that selected, now we can go ahead and bring it down like this, all the way to your threshold or the bottom or whatever. Alright, and I'm just gonna go ahead and select the top, whoops, I'm going to select the top lip, and I'm going to bring it up just a little bit, just like that. Okay, so that is our mouth vertical. So now if we press tab, as you can see, oh no, we've lost it. No, we haven't. In these shape keys, now when we turn up the value, as you can see, the mouth opens up, opens and closes. That's exactly what we want. Okay, now for mouth horizontal, right, we're going to select right lip, whoops, select right lip, and I'm going to bring it like this way, kind of close to the middle, and then I'm going to select left lip and bring it close to the middle, just like that, in edit mode. If we press tab, boom, it sets back, but if we up the value, just like that, we've got two ways to control the mouth. So we can use it as a combination to make an O sound or whatever. That's what we're going to need for our facial panel. Now since the eyes were pretty easy to do for like the eyes sad and mad and blinking, I decided to skip that, but what isn't as easy to do is the mouth emotion. So, okay, it may seem easy, but there's an extra step that you must take to put two emotions in one shape key. So, all I'm gonna do is drag kind of the center of this bottom lip or top lip of your choice, or both, and I'm gonna just select all this stuff. So with the middle of the lip selected, I can just bring it down like that. And as you can see, it's not quite what you would really want here. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna grab this. Alright, I'm gonna do that with this side, and I'm gonna rotate it so that it goes down a bit and bring it down so it's a bit more of a smile. And I'm gonna do the same for this side. Alright, so there's our smile. Okay, so that's our mouth emotion control. So if we get out of edit mode and turn up the volume, as you can see, it smiles. Now, range, we're going to set the minimum range to -1. So now it basically reverses the effect. But there's a little bit of a problem I'm gonna go ahead and render this. Okay, it's not that big of a problem. It just kind of looked black here, and it still does. It's fine though. So yeah, there we go. We have our frowny face and our happy face. So that's our emotion. I'm gonna set this to 0 so that it is neutral. And now I'm gonna go ahead. Now that we have our shape keys, I'm just going to go ahead now and bind the mesh to our armature. Alright, so to do that, we're going to, first off, we're going to need to hold shift, right click all of these cubes. Alright, then in this menu, make sure you're in object mode, because remember the settings are different from edit mode and object mode in this menu. Then you're going to click join. Alright, basically what we've done is we've joined all of this together as one. I'm going to go into wireframe so I can actually see this here. I'm going to click the armature, and instead of being in pose mode, I'm going to go into object mode. Now I can click this mesh, hold shift, then click the armature. Then I can go Control P, and this is the part where you need to figure out if you've chosen sharp ends like me, or if you've chosen smoother bends. So if you've chosen smooth bends, all you need to do is click with automatic weights, alright? That's all you need to do. If you've chosen sharp bends, you need to do this, and we need to take an extra step. So you need to click with empty groups, alright? Now if we go Control Tab with our armature selected, we're in pose mode. As you can see, nothing is happening when we're moving it. If you have smooth bends, something should happen by now. But we need to take an extra step now. So click the object or the mesh, go from object mode to weight paint, and I'm gonna click this box down here so we can see through everything. And we want to click that little bone that's kind of sticking out there. And boom, all we need to do now is make sure we're on. Alright, so what you need to do is you need to select all of this down here, so just these points, these main points down here. Make sure you have this so that you can actually see through to the other edges behind it. And just go into ortho modes, press 5 so that it looks kind of weird, and then press 3. And now, all you need to do is make sure all of this is red, right? There's a split between here. Okay, we don't want to highlight this stuff. We just want this half, alright? Then you're going to want to select this bone up here and do the same except opposite. So we'll select all of that by brushing over it, and we'll select this half. And there we go. So we're going to want to do that with pretty much everything, but the head is a bit different. So I'm going to right click the head bone, okay, and that red stuff will disappear. Then we're going to want to highlight the entire head, because we want this bone controlling not just part of the head, but the entire head. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do that with the rest. So I'm going to select this knob here, go back into this view, and just select that, scroll in a bit, and that's what we have to do with all of them. After you're done all of that, you should see something that looks like this. So it's not quite finished, but it's a sharp bend nevertheless. So as you can see, we need to put restraints on here so it doesn't do something like this. And the other thing is, when you bend it, you get this ugly black spot here, and we don't want that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put that back by going Alt-R and Alt-G. And, well, if we did our job right here, everything should be like that. So, what we need to do now is create shape keys for each bend. Alright? Now, depending on if you have smooth bevels or not, the steps will be different. Only slightly, though. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a new shape key off of the basis, and we're going to call this, or we'll create a few more off of the basis here. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we want a bend for the, so bend, bend.arm.r. So we got our bend shape keys, alright? So for the bends, we're going to right click, blah blah blah. Alright, so let's find the shape key that says bend.arm.l. There we go. Alright, so it's this one. So we're going to select that. We're going to go into edit mode, okay? I'm in ortho right now, so it looks a bit funky, but we're just going to select this edge here. So if you did not choose smooth bevels, then it'll just be one line, but since we had smooth bevels, we've got pieces to pick up and select. Alright, so I'm going to go press 1, and I'm going to press Z so that we can see through. And you're going to want to set up your grid. So press N, and then under display, change 10 change it from 10 to 20. Alright, then we're going to zoom out a bit, and then make sure our snap is on, and we're going to press G and bring this down about 2 blocks like that. Alright, then we're going to box select this up, this edge, and then we're going to press G and bring this up 3 so that it is pretty much close enough aligned to that little ball, which is the elbow. Then we're going to press S, 1, 2, 3, 4, scale it down 4 like that. If you want to be safe from complete glitches, you could do it 2 more times, which is 6. But I'm not going to do that because I'm pretty confident that won't happen. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and test it. So I'm going to select that control bone, and I'm going to bend this about 90 degrees like that. Then I'm going to select the arm, turn up that like that, and put the camera right there, and boom, looks like we're good. So now what we need to do, and basically the process is completely the same for all the bends except for, I believe, the torso, because the torso is a little bit different. Now what we need to do is add a driver. So right click, add a driver, okay? You see this UV image editing window? Change it to graph editor, and right here where it says F curve, change that to drivers. Alright, now over in this grid, we're going to press N, and we're going to drag this out a bit so that we can actually see it. And then under Key 01, just click this, and boom, we have our stuff that we need to work with. So I'm going to change, I'm going to type, replace var with rotation, just type that. That's what the name is going to be. And then we're going to find our armature. And then, this is where the naming comes in handy, along with previously our inverse kinematics. We're going to find the lower arm L. So that's this right here, alright? So, now we needed to determine if this is which axis it's rotating on. So I'm gonna click this bone here and change global to local down here, and it seems like it is the z-axis. Alright, so I'm gonna go back here, click the object, and z rotation, local space. Alright, and then expression, we're gonna change this to tan rotation divided by 2. Boom. Now, as you can see, driver value, it says it's negative 0.9. That is absolutely not what we want. So we're just going to turn this expression into a negative expression. So it's negative tan rotation divided by 2 in brackets. So now when we bend this, if I can get out a snap, it is smooth all the way down. So just to double check, I'm going to get out of ortho. I'm going to put the camera right there by going Alt Control 0 on your number pad, and then F12. Alright, so that's good. So I'm gonna go on and casually bend this down. Looks like there's no black blotches or anything. Boom, we are good to go. Alright, so I'm just gonna hit Alt R and G so that it puts it back where it needs to be, and we're gonna do the same thing with the arms and the legs, but one more thing. We want some constraints on here. So we're going to click this yellow bone here, and in this armature tab there should be inverse kinematics. No, Where is it? Aha, right here. So, you can't just put any old constraint on an inverse kinematic. You have to go into the settings itself. So, in this bone tab right here, under inverse kinematics, you have your limits. Alright, so these are all local limits. So, while we are still in local, we're going to figure out we don't want this bone kind of bending like this. And we only want it to bend up like this 90 degrees. So, we want it to bend on the z-axis only 90. So, you have to play around with these settings. I'll tell you what I get after. Alright, okay, so, when I click limit under Z, right, you'll see this big blue circle. Alright, we're going to want to limit this. So, under limit, we're going to change this to -90 based on what we're seeing with this circle, because this circle is telling us how far it's going to rotate places, and then we're going to change this to 0. Boom, so -90 and 0, so it only rotates up to there. Now, we want to make sure that it doesn't rotate on the y-axis at all. So this red circle will help us determine that. So, by limiting x, we're going to change this to 0 and this to 0. So now, when this does rotate, it rotates the entire arm, which is natural and how it should be. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the legs and arms and come back to you guys with that. Now the legs are actually a little bit different. So when we bend this whole leg thing, right, with the sharp end, instead of going down with this side, we go up this side. So we're going to bring it up 2, 3. So we're going to bring it up 3 blocks on the grid, because just reverse from the arms. Usually the front would go 3 up, but this is a leg, not an arm. So we're going to bring this one 2 down, and as you can see, it's pretty much the same. So now we're going to size this back bit down instead of the front bit like so. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And then the drivers, they're pretty much the same, except I don't believe it is negative. So I'm going to add a driver here, just go over this again. And then we're going to click value bend.leg r over here. Make sure you have that selected, and call this rotation. And then armature, and then find lower leg.r. Again, it still is the rotation, and it's still local space. And then you just enter in the expression, and boom, when we bend this, it works. So all we have to do now for the legs is limit it. So I'm going to go into the bone tab. I don't want it rotating at all on the x-axis locally, but I want it to rotate 90. There we go. Alright, so basically now I just need to do that on the other leg. Alright, so now I'm done the legs and the arms and everything. Now what we need to do is the torso. So if we just bend it right now, from left to right, as you can see, sharp bends do not do good or well from left to right bends. Now there is a definite way to fix this. I'm just not going to go over it in the tutorial. I'm just going to make it so that you can bend one way, which would be this way, without the black blotches. And you're not going to be able to bend back. I'm just not going to have that because it's not really realistic. So, okay, let's see, where do I begin? Okay, so go back to your shape keys, click bend.torso, and we're going to go into edit mode. Okay, so we want the torso to bend forward. So we're going to do the same thing that we did with the arms. So I'm going to, this back part is only going to go down about 2 blocks. 1, 2. And this front bit is going to go up 3. But it's also going to shrink down about 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 snaps. So 1, 2, 3. Actually, 1, 2. Just 2 for the torso since it is bigger. that should be pretty much good. That's what I did with my official rig, at least. Okay, so now that we have that, we can go ahead, shape keys, right click, add driver, boom. Click bend dot torso, armature, and then find. Now this is where it gets tricky. Instead of selecting the lower dot torso, you need to select the upper dot torso. Okay, and it is on the Z rotation and local space. I'm going to name this rotation. And then we're going to enter in our equation, or expression. Rotation divided by 2. Boom, so 10, rotation in brackets divided by 2. And if we go ahead and rotate this on that axis, it doesn't seem to be doing stuff. So I'm going wrong somewhere. Where am I going wrong somewhere? Not sure. Okay, let's see if it's because it's not negative. Yep, that seemed to have fixed it. Alright, so it is a negative for the torso. But there we go. So basically we have our sharp bends all working properly, except for that. Don't worry, that'll not happen when we do our stuff. Now I need to figure out what's next.